Good morning. Good morning. Happy Monday. A few minutes late. I apologize for that. This morning we're going to be doing pansies and we're going to get right to it. I've gone ahead and put the traceable in the group so that if you want to paint along or if you want to paint for later, you surely can do that. So move my paper over here. I have not cleaned my pan. All right, what's wrong with my spray bottle here? This has been working. Not sure what's up with that. How is everybody? Hope you had a great weekend. Bear with me. Let me clean this off. I had a busy weekend. I spent time Saturday working in my storage area here in my studio. Just getting things straightened back out. My storage area seems to become a dumping ground in the fall and winter and even sometimes in the summer for our leftover beach chairs and stuff like that. It was good morning Sherry, good morning Andrea, good morning Margo, good morning Pam. It was getting to the point where I couldn't walk in there, and it wasn't terrible, it was just cluttered. And now I can go in there and spend a whole lot more time with organization, because just over a period of time, that's going to be in the way of the camera. Hold on just a second. Let me make sure my camera is sitting correctly. Yeah, I'm going to jiggle for a minute. Hopefully that's a little bit better. But I got it done. I'm feeling better about it. And there's several other areas in my studio. I've been working a little bit in my creative space, going through all of my cabinets and drawers and pulling things out here and there. And so, oh, well, I have this out. I wanted to show y'all this hinging tape, the linen hinging tape. This is what I use when I myself am doing the matting for my paintings. This is archival in quality. It's acid-free. It's all the things, and it's hard to find good mounting tape. So this is a great one that I recommend highly. It's expensive, but it does go a long way. I usually get a couple of them to have them on hand, and I had completely run out. I don't get to do my own very often because of the sizes of papers that I use, but it's nice when I can. Like I said, I don't get to do it that often. Anyways, all right, I'm going to mix a terracotta color. I'm going to go about it a little differently. I'm going to try some sienna, some raw sienna. I needed to change my water out. I came over for a little bit yesterday and dabbled. And let's see, I'm going to try some of my orange, quinacridone orange, I think this is. And let's see here, maybe a touch of my brown, just a touch. Oops, that was a little bit more than a touch, but anyways, we can work with it. We had some rain last night and early this morning. We had a storm sitting over us this morning that was intense. But we got some much needed rain. We needed some rain so bad. We have rivers around us and stuff like that, lots of bodies of water, but the rain tends to stay in those areas and then dabble out, and we kind of get missed a lot in the rain department, so it's frustrating. That's a little too orangey. Let's see. Let's put, if we've got something that's a little bit too vibrant, what do we do for orange? Can y'all remember? That looks better, doesn't it? What we do for orangey colors, when they're too intense, we add the opposite, and the opposite is going to be blue. So I just added a little bit of cobalt into my mix there, and it took it down from this really bright orange to a less concentrated orange. I'm just dampening my brush and pulling this down. And I'm not going to worry too much about ending this one perfectly. I'm just going to pull it down a little bit, and then we'll I'm letting that dry a little bit before I go up to it, because it's wet, and if I put this richer color into it, it's going to follow that water trail, right? Get back around here. And I'm going to rinse. Take a little bit of my water and tap that in. I'm just going to take, I have just water on my brush, but I have a little bit of paint still left in it. So I'm going to tap up on top of these, on the ridge here of my planter. And this should lighten it up. Yeah, blue. Add a little touch of blue. This is still damp, but I'm going to go on ahead and add some more to it, making sure I don't have too much water on my brush, because I want to have about the same amount of water on my brush. That's the dampness of the paper, because if I have more water than I do paint, then it's going to cause a bloom, and I don't want a bloom. I'm just scrubbing that downwards. Okay. All right. Paint's bleeding up this way, so I'm going to lift some of this while it's still damp. All right. And we'll come back to this. It's looking a little on the splotchy end of things. It will make that look so much better shortly. How was y'all's weekend? Happy Cinco de Mayo today. Okay. How many of y'all are pansy people? Do you like pansies? When you're doing this, try to use a bigger brush. I used a brush that was a little bit on the small side, and you can really see my brush strokes. And preferably, you don't want that. But I'll fix that later. All right, I'm just OCD that way. All right, I want to make, their leaves are kind of a bluish, sometimes purpley leaf. I'm going to take some of my cobalt and I'm going to put it down here. I'm going to take some of my Pearland green. I'll put that down here. That's a really pretty bluish green all on its own. I'm going to take a touch of purple. Cobalt's pretty close to it. But I'm going to take a touch of my purple and I'm going to blue this down even more. And it gives me a really, really pretty green, grayish green. Let's see if we can't make that look a little bit better. Let's put a little bit more green in there. Let's see what we've got. That's looking better. There we go. I'm liking that better. So we got kind of a dusky green color. You want to make sure your pot's dry. You don't want this running into your pot. And because we have some cobalt in here, this is going to lighten up considerably. I have to change my brush out to a bigger brush here. For some reason, it's looking a whole lot greener on the screen than what it is. It's actually a pretty gray looking color. And I'm going to see if I can't. Looking for my glass pen. There it is. And we'll just leave that and keep this nearby. Let's see if I can find one that's a little bit bigger. I might go back to my smaller one. We'll see. I have a commission that I need to start on. I haven't started on it, but I need to run to town today. I've got to take a couple more and start getting those matted and make a couple more stops today. What's on y'all's agenda? Move y'all back over this way now. It is rich. Awesome. Glad you had a great weekend. Make sure that when you score, that you're going in the direction of your... Went a little bit out of line there. It does get slick. And of course, right up in here, it's going to be a little bit darker as it's in shadow. And we're going to go back and add some variation. There's clusters of leaves right here. Just clusters. And we'll add some variation to these so that they are separated. If it helps you to keep track of it, you can do one leaf at a time. It's going to be okay. As long as you can see your pencil lines, you should be good. You're just doing a gentle score there. Try to keep it gentle. Okay. We'll take gently tap and score. On this, I'm going to add just a touch of my purple over here. Oops. A touch of purple means like so light you're barely touching it. And of course, that didn't just happen. But I'm still going to tap on over this. This one is, see how dark that got? It doesn't take long. But we've got a nice, pretty green, purpley green leaf there. Morning, Denise. I gotcha. Good luck, girl. Good luck with that. It's... All right, I'm going to take that. Now I'm going to soften that leaf off. Notice I'm carrying it all the way down, but I'm directing that color with my brush. Then I'm rinsing my brush, dabbing my brush off, so I'm not adding it even more water. And then I'm going to soften that edge and just bring all of that down. Now this paint that I added there is going to flow where it needs to flow. Okay? Because this one's sitting on an edge, I want to kind of keep it soft. But I did want to add a little bit of that purpley blend to that. I've been on the lookout for some azaleas to go around my studio. I've got some roses that are really, really blooming this year that look really nice. But I want some azaleas, and I'm having a hard time finding them. All right, I've got a couple of leaves that are crossing over one another here. So I'm just going to tap in a shadow, and then I'm going to rinse my brush, tap it off really well, and then just let that happen. Little by little, I'm adding just little amounts of this purpley blend into my green mixture. I'm not just adding purple over the green. I'm mixing it into the green over here on my sidelines and mixing a new color. But giving it a nice little wash or glaze. I'm going to take, this one's kind of folding over a bit, so I'm going to put a shadow down here at the bottom to indicate that it's not just coming straight out, but it's bending over. Okay. Let's take our little pen. And a little bit of that purpley green mixture. We're going to go around. We have a flower petal right here that's going to cast a shadow here. And then we've got another leaf right here. I'm going to dry it real quick. You see how this one has bled out so much? I'm going to see if I can catch that real quick. Control it a little bit. It did pick up some of the green as well, but that's okay. Good morning, Brenda. Would you hop on? Please say hello. I appreciate it. Okay. I'm gonna take right here and I'm gonna pull some of this out because it's quite wet. Okay. In order to lift paint, your brush needs to be pretty damp and not wet. Okay. As I get into these little nitty-gritty areas here, I need to use a little bit of a smaller brush, so. Where I'm seeing these leaves in the darkest areas, I'm going to add the darkest paints. Morning, Andrea. Thank you for watching. I appreciate all the interaction though. It really helps guys, when y'all do interact with me. I appreciate you being here no matter what, but interacting is wonderful. All right, I'm going to make that area a little darker. And this area here, because I put it right next to it, it bled. So I'm going to soften this off a little bit. There we go. Your paper towel is the best tool you'll ever have. Invest in paper towel. Little by little. This brush keeps a nice sharp point. This is a Princeton Velvet Touch. So it helps me get into some of these areas that would be a little bit more difficult. If you go outside of the lines like I did here, I'm not overly worried about it because there'll be more of a background back there when we do our negative painting. I forgot this leaf right here comes all the way right here. I was trying not to have that bleed together a while ago, and I don't want to forget to put that back in. So now that helps this to stand out even more. Okay. Does it really? That's really odd. Let me push this light back some. It's because it's starting. Can you see my head? Is that what it is? Let me readjust here. Hold on 2 seconds, guys. I think my camera probably is picking up my shadow from my head or something. My apologies. All right, up here we've got a little tiny area. It's probably a little greener than the rest. Very, very light in color. Let's just use a tad bit of our green and make sure that's good and watered. This brush holds a ton of water, a ton of paint. All right, we'll just put that there. My apologies, y'all. Okay, let's see if we can. These two are leaves. I'll try to get right between those two petals. Thank you for letting me know, Sherry. I noticed that last week when I was doing that video, and I thought, let me remember, and I did not, so you rescued me. Try not to go over your petal with your pen when you put that in, because later when we're painting our petals, we don't want that to be an issue. I'm just using my Pearland green on this one. Just a gentle, gentle score. Right here where it's tipping downwards, we're going to put a little bit of we're going to use that green that we've been using on our other leaves so that we have shadowing there. Okay. I'm going to use the same Pearland green right here on these. The light is hitting these a little bit differently because they're not in shadow as much. So we'll just use this green, and then we'll use the other paint for our shadows. Okay. I'm going to dry this because these two leaves are touching. They'll run together, which is no big deal. They look very similar, but it'll give me an opportunity to go in and do the rest of that leaf. And we talked about this some last week, but when you have an area, these are the flowers, these are the leaves. When you have an area that intersect like this, that one overlaps the other, that's going to be where your darkest darks are going to go. That's where you really want there to be a soft or a richness, and not be afraid to start putting those dark areas in there, because that's what's going to help give you a good foundation of a more dimensional. Is my hair getting back in the way again? I felt my head scrub the camera. Morning, Sandy. How are you this morning? Did you have a good weekend? So there's a slight change in the color of the leaves, and it helps to we're supposed to get storms again later, or this afternoon or today sometime. Thinking, did I get in all the leaves? I'm going to start putting in some more shadowing here. Don't use such a small brush. Sometimes you want, sometimes we have a tendency to want to go to the tiniest brush we have, and what happens is it leaves such a small line that what it looks like is that we've outlined it instead, and it's not giving us a nice soft transition. So use a brush that's just slightly larger. This is a number 6 to do this type of work with, because it will make a difference in how your shadows look. And don't forget to come this way in the smaller areas. Come towards it instead of away from it. In this case, I have a large leaf, so I don't have to come towards it. I can go away from it if I want to. Or I can come towards it, doesn't matter. All right, so those are starting to look pretty good. Got a couple more right here that I can do that are drying pretty quick, but they just need to be redone from time to time. Okay. All right. I'll do this one. Then we're going to work on our flowers. If you do not have a nice blow dryer or heat gun, it's worth the investment. You don't need to have one, but they're nice to have so that you can move along. and you can stop the movement of it. You can leave your painting where you want to leave it, and if you go ahead and dry it, it will help that. But I can come back later and readjust these leaves. And at some point, we'll come back in and do all this negative. But I want to show y'all how to do the flowers in case we need to leave earlier. All right, so on these pansies, they're usually 4 petals, 3 to 4 petals of one color, and about 2 petals that are a little bit larger that are a different color. Oftentimes they are a coordinating color. And on these, I want these to be purple and white. So I'm going to mix up the kind of purple I want. I'm going to use my dioxazine purple. Was it a grandkid weekend? So you didn't have time to do much of anything, but oh, bless your heart. I understand. But there's a lot of love in that. All right, I put some of my quinacridone magenta into my dioxazine to kind of redden this purple up a little bit. And this is a pretty thick mixture. It's more honey consistency. So that's what we've got there. If I wet my brush and go next to it, if I wet my brush again, now I'm going to tap my brush off and go back and pick up some of that water. So this is what we're dealing with. Okay? Pretty. Very pretty color. All right. So I'm going to work on my dark petals, the little, I call them bearded petals, but I'm not really sure. I'm not sure what they really are. Oops. My brush skipped into my white petal. I just dipped my brush a little bit in my water. It will help move some of this paint. Of course, it lightened the color up somewhat, but I can go back and enrichen that color a little bit more. We know that it's better to go softer at first and do layers, right? Because watercolor is translucent. We want to see the layers beneath. You can see I've got some blooms starting here, where my brush, when I dipped into my water, was wetter than what the paint was on the paper. The paper was starting to dry with the paint that I had put down, and my brush was wetter than that. So you can fix that real quick. Okay, I'm gonna do what we do here. I'll come down in here. With a little bit of a darker stretch. I do have a little bit of a, I have a reference photo over to my left. Make sure that you, before you start, you find a reference of pansies so that you can paint yours the way you want to paint them. Look at that. That's what happens when you have water on your ferrule. Okay. I am shallow breathing. Or you're shallow breathing. Are you holding your breath? I'm going to take a little bit of my Payne's Gray, if I can find it here. I think that's it. I'm gonna try to really get a soft color. See, that's too dark. That's better. Let's try again. It's better. All right. I'm going to take and kind of go in between some of these. Soft swipe with a damp brush. It really helps to define these petals. We're going to, of course, define them anyways, but with different colors. Little tiny areas that help us define our petals. Now that I picked up quite a bit of that gray. Damp brush. And this will lighten considerably, but still. Okay. Looking better. All right, let's see. I'm going to come this way a little bit too. Okay. I'm going to take a little bit of this gray also. I'm going to go into the centers. They're like a little heart almost. Oh, you're shallow breathing. Okay. Unlike me, I usually have to take a deep breath every now and again because of my morning allergies and stuff. Usually by the afternoon, they've softened off and cleared a little bit, but I tend to have to hold my breath, or not hold my breath, but I tend to sound like I'm holding my breath a little bit, but it's not so much that, it's my allergies. Being really, really careful. I'm not trying to necessarily go all the way to that edge. Right, now I'm going to switch to a smaller brush. Draw this real quick. Still got to put another purple one here. I might just, I don't know. We'll see. I'll tell you what, I'm going to use one of my new brushes. I'm going to use the same purple for our center. I'm going to wet that really well. I'm just going to making sure I don't have any water on my ferrule. And on this one, I'm gonna do some pulling out. Make sure your brush is good and wet. Try not to go into your heart area. How lovely is that? Follow the direction of your petal. Okay. Hey, Tanya, good morning. Yeah, the brushes are great. Get nice. Long strokes here. This one back here, I'm gonna kind of skip a space. Be careful not to go into the neighboring flower. Let's see. We're getting there, guys. I'm gonna rinse this off now. Today I'm using Arch paper. Arch. If you're familiar, it's the cold press, 140 pound, 100% cotton. You're going to get much better results if you invest in your paper. I am going to pull up a small brush right now, and I think I want to add a little more bulk around this area. At least on a couple of these, I think I want to do this. Now, you could do this first if you wanted to, and then pull out the color. But this is a hindsight. They were looking a little bit too perfect for my liking. Let's see what happens if I take. I'm afraid this is going to mess me up. Soften those lines up a little bit. All right, which one do y'all like better? Something more like this or something like these? Hi, Sherry. All right, I'm going to come back in here, darken this. Purples is one of those things that looks really pretty when you put it down, but I don't think it's that pretty when it's faded out. I like it in its richest format. Yes. Do you like it much more intense like that or looser like this? I didn't do the best job on that, but I'm going to go back to it. Okay. Maybe in between. Um, if you do not have one of these brushes, don't fret. You can use a liner brush. Just make sure that when you're using it, that you're straight up and down, and that you're not letting your hand drop to the side. Yeah, I think so too, Tanya. I'm going to add a little bit more of my magenta to my purple mixture. I'm starting to use up all my paints. Yeah, you gotta hold that brush straight up and down. There's time when sideways is great, not always. I'm going in with a thicker mixture now of my purples. Damp brush here. Thanks for hopping on this Monday morning. That really helped it, I think. Helped make them pop a little bit more. Coming in with this richer mixture. But I'm not covering the whole petal. I'm leaving some of it for a highlight. Damp brush. It's really helping those petals to pop now. Painting white flowers in watercolor can be tricky. Damp brush. Damp brush. Dry it. Oh, thank you. No, it's not. White is not white in watercolor. I'm going to go back to my pot for a minute. I need to put some more shadowing on these flowers, but I really want them to kind of prime. I'm going to take this same purpley red. Come up under here. And get a little bit of a larger brush here. I'll also come up here. Softening these lines. Pulling it that way a little bit. Come back into my terracotta color here. And I'm going to pick up a little bit of a more richer mixture. And look how that changed it. Look how it changed that shadow there. It looked really awkward, right? But you got to trust the process. She's like, I'm sure you're like, I can't believe she's putting that purple. And look what it did. I love it. You can take, using those contrasting colors, those opposites on your color wheel, when purple is very close to the blue zone, so it works. It just works. And I'm going to take a little bit. We've got a shadow over here on this side. I'm going to soften that off. Lift some of that. There we go. Okay. Lift a little bit of this. You can take and pull in some striations into your leaves if you like. I think I'm going to go purple on this one. I'm going to pull up some more of this. I'm just trying to lighten some of those. My water's so dirty. I don't know that I'm contributing that very much. Okay. We have another busy week this week. Yeah, that's okay. I was thinking on one day I had a doctor's appointment that I may have to reschedule, but that's on a different day than y'all. Okay, let's see here. Let's get some sepia. I'm going to mix that into what I have here on my palette, and that is some Payne's Gray. I'm probably going to pull over a little bit of this purple in here too, so it's not so dark. Well, it'll be dark, but it won't be so black. like it's in a deep dark hole. Okay, I'm gonna rinse off my brush and just pull some of that here. Even in your negative spaces, try to not cover the whole thing with that rich dark. Try to still leave some highlights, because the light's going to hit your shadows in various areas. So we're just going to put our potting soil in here. My apologies for putting my head in the way. Hopefully it's not causing the camera to blur. Just trying to get in close. This is a good time to shape your leaves or your flowers if they got a little out of shape. Don't forget all the little tiny areas. We'll move to a much smaller brush so I can get back into these areas now. This is the brush that really likes to splay and leave marks where I don't want them. Ask me why I still have it up here on my desk. I don't know. Ay, ay, ay. I want to keep this one a little simpler for those who are starting out. You know, just take your time. You can do this one. These little areas like this, you just need to take your time. Learn when to put your hand up close to the ferrule of your brush. When to change your brushes out to smaller brushes. Excuse me. You would think with all the rain we've had the last 2 days that I wouldn't be fighting with these allergies, but here I am. This brush doesn't like to move the paint either. let's see if we can get a lighter green. Oops, don't like that one. Do not. And then all you want to do is put in your background, and I don't need to do that with y'all. I would just probably do a simple, loose, very unplanned kind of black background that is very soft. Something that just centers the painting, brings it to the eye, and holds it there. Maybe just some shadowing background, just going back with our second layer of where it's needed. And then on your leaves, where those have lightened considerably, you can go back and add some more texture or shadowing to those. And this would really, really kind of help this stand out. Like this one here is pretty good. This one here is pretty good. Some of these are already good, but you can always go in. Like this one here, I would definitely add a darker shadow to. And this here has got some wonky edges here. And it would be a pretty painting. It does need a background because you have these white flowers. You're definitely going to need something back there. Maybe just some Payne's Gray. Let's see. Okay, let's see if we can do that real quick. Let's see if we can't. I'm just going to use this gray. I'm going to go around and carve out these flowers very carefully. Dry, or tap my brush off, and I'm just going to. I'm just using a big brush that holds lots of water and paint. Some areas I want darker than others. As it comes up, see how this got into that flower? Just be careful there. It'll be okay. As it comes to the top, I don't want it as dark because there's going to be more light at the top of something than there is darkness. And I'm just going to make sure I have a loose line that comes around. See how that pops forward? Let me get to this one real quick here. A lot of this is just now it's what's left in the paint water, because I can't rinse my brush that well anymore. Just trying to not have a hard line. You really want a big brush for this. A big thirsty brush for this. Get in close to those lines. Get in tight. It will look very odd and uneven if you don't, especially around the white flowers. And you could definitely use a little bit of purple mixed into your Payne's Gray. That would be very pretty. There's a color called Moon Glow by Daniel Smith. That's very pretty. That would be pretty. It's kind of a grayish purple anyways. Blue, a very light colored blue. And that kind of helps that these flowers pop out. You can take, while it's wet, just make sure I don't have any hard lines starting. It looks like I did right there. So let me kind of go back in here with more color. See how I'm not coming all the way down? I stop at some point and then I feather that color off so that it's it's Payne's Gray. Yes, it is. I'm going to take a little bit of this purple, yellow, this purpley red mixture into my Payne's Gray. And down here, I'm going to add it. Just in some areas, not in all areas. Tapping in to the color. I actually like this purple. Not a problem, Sherry. I wish I had clean water, guys. I'm going to try some of this orange. A little bit, just a little bit in one place. If I like it, then I'll do it somewhere else. If you don't like where this is going, if you feel like it's getting a little bit too dark, you can spray it. And you can tap it. And it's good to go, you know, regardless of whatever. Bring it this away some. And I'm going to pull in. Pull a little bit of this reddish purple on this side. Okay. And I can play around more with the terracotta pot, add more coloring to it. It'd be a lot of fun. You can take and glaze these white flowers and make them a slight yellow color, and make them less stark white if you want to do that. There's so many things that you can do with a painting like this, so just play. It's a lot of fun. Kind of go up closer here. Oops. Taking this brush I really dislike. And this will cause a bloom, I'm sure. This is very wet right here. Go back over and make yourself these shadows here as well. This is still damp a little bit, so it should be fine. Especially down here. And I'll finish this a little bit later, but that's just how I would do the background. You could add other pots around it, unfinished, like other looking, like a pot over here and a pot over here that are kind of off, that don't run off the page. There's lots you could do, but I wanted to focus in on how I would do a pansy and not add too much for a composition. I hope y'all enjoyed it. I sure did. Y'all always make my day brighter. Love you guys, and I'll see you on Thursday, if not before then. Remember to be active in our group as much as possible. Sherry and I very much appreciate it. It really helps for others in our group to see that we're active. Facebook likes to see that activity. And so in order to keep this group alive, we really, really are asking for that help. Love you guys. Take care. Bye-bye. Whoops, sorry guys. Trying to figure out how to close this.